Okay, you guys, so one of the most important things that you want to make sure that you have is a fast start planner. So everybody should have one of these. If you don't, I am positive that your trainer will give you one before the day is over. This fast start planner is very important. Open it to the centerfold if you have one. This is your gold mine. So the A.O. Williams way is to work with your friends and your family, warm market. So if you notice, this list is very, very long. I'm sure you guys have more contacts than this in your cell phone alone, right? Yeah, probably about 300 contacts. Okay, so the goal of this Fast Start Planner is to show you how to start out building your business. Good morning, how are you? Welcome. So this Fast Start Planner, the goal is to help you build your business. So if you notice, it has like a steamer towards the end. Go to the very last page. This is really going to help you decide who you want to sit down with in training. So you'll notice that one of the things that I'm going to go over today is the right market. That's also included in this book to pretty much share with you who you should be chatting with for your training appointments. So before I get into that, first, how many of you guys actually want to know how you'll get paid here? That's pretty important, right? Okay. So the first way that we get paid is a fee for service. How many of you guys work an hourly job right now? Okay, how many of you guys are on salary? Anybody? Okay. And how many of you guys work based on commission? Nobody. Okay. So one of the main things that people will find when it comes to the different ways that they get paid, right? Normally with hourly, you don't get paid what you're worth. You're trading your time for your money. With salary, you're giving up your time, but you're going to get the same amount of money most times, regardless of how much work you do, right? Or how much work you don't do. And then when it comes to commission, it's strictly based off of how much work you're willing to do. So a fee for service or commission works like this. When you first come to Primerica, there's a 25% contract, a 35% contract, a 50%, 60, 70, and 110. This is the best contract in American business, hands down. With most sales positions, and I hate to say sales because we are not a sales team per se, but that's how everyone perceives us, although we are educators. If you think about it, this is the best contract you can have, right? But most people top out with most companies at 50%. Our goal at this firm is to get you to start at 50%, which is a district leader. This is when your money gets great. So if I told you you had the opportunity to advance and put yourself in a position to make 50% of all the business that you bring in, wouldn't that be better than 25 or 35%? Yes. It would, right? So how many of you guys get paid $10 an hour? 15? 20? Anybody make more than $20 an hour? Okay. Okay, you don't have to tell me how much, but you make more than 20. You probably worked very hard to make more than $20 an hour, right? Okay, what if I told you with Primerica, based on the work that you do, this is what your pay looks like? Let's say on average, I sit down with a family. Let's say their life insurance is $83 a month that they're going to pay. Now, that means for the year, they're going to pay roughly $1,000 in premium. This is what we call premium. Now, this is why I stayed at Primerica, because when my brother-in-law, who recruited me, told me, hey, Steph, I just wrote this policy for you. And I said, cool, how much did you make? Because I know you just made some money off of me. He was like, well, I made a couple of dollars. I said, well, can I have a couple of the couple? He said, no, but I can show you what I just made. He said, I'm on a 50% contract, Steph. Tristan trained me well, so I make 50% of what my client pays for the year. I said, so you just made $500? He said, yeah, but Primerica's going to forward me 75% of that up front. So I said, you just made $350 off of me? He said, yeah. I said, can I at least have 50 bucks for dinner? He said, no, but I can show you how to make it. And that's how I got recruited. So think about this. If you had the opportunity to make this in an hour to an hour and a half, would there be any reason that you wouldn't put in the time to learn a new skill set? No, right? Because think about it. If you had... Exactly. I was going to ask you, how long does it take you at your job to make $350? 2 days, 3 days? Anybody else?
2.5.
2.5? Okay, so clearly it takes us longer than an hour and a half, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so think about it this way. This is the first way that you get paid, but they forward you 75% because our company is big on customer service. So Primerica says if we forward you 75% and we hold this other 25%, which is basically $150 of your money, we know that we know. If we tell you you have to properly service your client for bare minimum the first year, and then we'll give you this other 25%, don't you think you'll answer the phone when your client calls and has a concern, although you've already gotten paid $350?
Yeah. The rest of my money.
Exactly. And of course, that's not the only reason, but it gives you incentive to maintain your customer service. You always want to make sure your reputation stays well, it stays good. So fee for service. Everybody understands how you get paid a percentage of what the client pays for the year. Make sense? Okay. So the second way that we get paid, which is why a lot of people decide that Primerica is the place that they want to be, is overrides. Our override system and our ownership program is probably, well, not even probably, it is the best that you'll find in the country. So think about this. I have someone on my team that's on a 50% contract, and their upline is on a 70% contract, and a 60, and I'm on a 70. So if this is me, if this is my division leader, Donisha, if this is her district leader, Jamal, when Jamal closes that sale for $83, that the client paid $1,000 for the year for, on his 50% contract, how much money does he make? $500, right? And of course, they forward him 75%, but 100% of his commission, give or take, $500. Now, Donisha gets excited because the company said, hey, Donisha, you train someone who can close a sale. So we're gonna compensate you as well. So the way that Primerica figures that out is they say, hey, your rep was on a 50% contract, Donisha. You're on a 60% contract. So we're gonna pay your rep out, but we're also gonna pay you the difference between both of you guys' contracts, which is 10%. So Primerica will pay Donisha 10% of what the client pays for the year, which is how much? $100. Now, was Donisha at that appointment with Jamal? No, but she just took the time to train him to be able to help a family by himself, right? So now think about this. I'm also excited because I trained someone who trained someone. So Primerica says, Steph, great job. You get 10% as well. And then guess who really gets happy? Tonia. 110%. What's the spread between 40 and 110? Between 70 and 110. So now she gets 40% of the 1,000. So you see, it gets paid out. So what you have to think about is this: $400, $500, $600, $1,100 that Primerica paid out, right? But how much did the client pay for the first year? So did Primerica profit the first year? No. Would your job pay you out and not profit at all? Probably not, right? So the one thing that we want to focus on is as you go through your career in Primerica, yes, you might start here, but this is the ultimate goal. Because although Jamal can go make $500 for closing this sale, if Tonia went and did the exact same work, she's going to make 110% of that 1,000, which means that she's going to get paid the whole $1,100 for helping a family with an $83 policy. How would you feel if you made $1,100 in 1 hour?
Ecstatic. What? I want to shop them out to eat.
Wrong answer. Invest it. All right. So does overrides make sense? The fact that you can get paid based on what you teach your teammates how to do. So don't you think that you would have a little bit more concern for the people that are working underneath you if you know that your paycheck depends on how well you teach them to be productive? It might, right? Do you think that your boss, you would have a better working environment if your boss or your supervisor actually cared about how you felt? Right. Might be better, right? All right. So overrides. The reason that I love them, what I just went over, is because I have a business team of 42 people, meaning that there are 42 people who have a license through the Department of Insurance, State of California, that can go help a family. Do you think I would get excited if all 42 of my people helped a family in a month? Yeah. That's a lot of overrides, right? So think about Tonia. She has 170 licenses, or what we call codes, and probably half of them close a sale every single month. So she overrides about 80 people, 90 people. That's pretty cool, right? Bonuses. Check this out. How many of you guys get paid bonuses at your job or where you work at? 2 people. Man, what do we have? Like 12, 13? Okay, so how does your bonus scale work? Anybody care to share how you get paid extra bonuses at your job?
It's holiday pay sometimes depending on, because I write songs.
Okay.
If I pass my limit that I'm supposed to write,
okay,
they give me a budget.
Oh, okay.
If they all get placed, they all have to be placed.
Ah, so you basically have to write some phenomenal music in order for them to make sure they give you extra money.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what if I told you you can be average here and get a bonus?
I mean, I don't do average, but I'll take it.
But you'll take it, right? Which means that you would probably play for the step-up bonus. So think about this. I'll explain unlicensed bonuses as well as licensed, okay? So the bonus that I was just talking about that I got paid, Primerica said, hey, Steph, based on whatever the production of your team is, so let's call it 100,000. Now, this is my wishful thinking because this is what Tonia's team does, right? But let's say my team did 100,000 in production. Primerica says, hey, anybody under that 110% contract, we're going to give you a 5% bonus based on what your team did last month. So if my team did 100,000 in production, that's an extra $5,000 Primerica just drops into my account to say, great job for last month. That's pretty awesome, right?
Yes.
But think about this. They also said, hey, Steph, instead of doing what a regional leader normally does, why don't you just kind of show off a little bit? Don't be average, right? Do what an RVP would normally do. We'll give you an extra 2.5%, which instead of that being a 5,000 bonus, it's 7,500. That's pretty awesome. Now, think about this. I'm just on a 70% contract, right? So I played up, which means I had to recruit 10 people to my team, and I had to do 10,000 in training, like in production, right? Now, when it comes to your bonuses, the one thing that you want to look at is this is all life insurance premium. How much you've helped with life insurance for the month, right? Well, this 100,000, you want it to, one, be good premium. It has to be people who actually want the service, people who are going to keep the service. Because during Christmas time, as everybody rushes into Target to buy everything, when does Target have the highest rate of return? January, when people bring it back, right? Which means that they made money or lost money?
Lost money.
They lost money, right? So with this 100,000 in production, you want as much as this 100,000 in production to stick and stay as possible, because your bonuses depend on what's called a QBI, which is a quality of business. So it's basically Primerica rating how great of a student or a teacher you are. So if your QBI or your grade point average drops below a C average, then they don't give you your entire bonus. So it's important for you to make sure whatever business you write is solid.
So it's a monthly bonus?
Well, when you go regional vice president, it is.
So how often is it?
Under regional vice president,
Yeah.
sometimes Primerica will do it once a quarter. Sometimes they will throw out an extra incentive. Most times since I've been here for 3.5 years, I've seen them do it at least twice every single year where you get an extra bonus. So last January of 2016, that was my wife and I's highest income month. We made $10,200, and it was because we received a bonus based on last December's production, and our bonus was $1,800. So of the 10,200, 18 of it was bonus money, and then the rest was just production that we did in life insurance and investments and things like that. But your RVP bonus, which is either 10% or 20%, depending on what your team does, is every single month when you take your 110% contract. So how Tonia clears $60,000, $70,000 in a month is because every single month that she wakes up, based on what we do, she gets paid a bonus. But you got to think about it. She put in the work to be able to receive bonuses like that. She worked in the field for 5 years, really getting it in and really showing people what to do. So until you get to RVP, you won't get a consistent bonus. But what if I told you every single person in this room in the next 15 days, well, 15 to 30 days, has the opportunity to put an extra $400 in their pocket? Would you be open-minded to that?
Yep.
All right. I got to start off with the good stuff to show you where you're going. All right. So if I told you that I needed you to find 2 awesome people to add to your business team that you would want to work with, and you need to find 2 amazing families to sit down with to be able to help to make sure that their family are properly protected, do you think you could thumb through your smartphone and find 2? Yeah. You could, right? Okay, so that means everybody should be getting $400 in the next 30 days, right? Okay. Your 3x3 bonus. Normally, as you help your first family, once you complete your 32-hour licensing course, Primerica would give you $100. But instead of it being $100 this month, it's $200. So this is basically your trainer coming to sit down with you and say, hey, in order for you to get really, really good at this business, you need on-hands experience, right? In-field experience. So I'm going to take you out. I'm going to sit you down at the table. I'm going to do a presentation, let you take notes, and then after that, you're going to know exactly what to do, right? Well, if you did that 1 or 2 times, how great do you think that you would be at the presentation?
Nervous.
Maybe? nervous, maybe not know everything, but what if you did it 10 to 15 times? Do you think that you would know exactly what to say, when to say, and how to say it? Okay. Expert, right? So this might seem like a lot, but it's really not. 20 training appointments. That's your number. You might schedule 20, you might have 20 people cancel on you, but as you schedule 20 appointments, I promise you out of 20, you will get enough experience in order to be able to properly help somebody. So what happens is this. We schedule these 20 training appointments. Let's say the first person that we sit down with is a cousin of yours. So we sit down. I do a 30-minute presentation. I explain to them how life insurance works. I explain to them how investments work. Talk to them a little bit about our company, see where they are financially. We might put some things in place for them, which now we make them a client, right? Well, as they become a client, that took care of this part. This was the one family that we helped because we did their life insurance. After I help them, I'm then going to turn around and say, hey, do you like what it is that we just put in place for you? Do you think that it would benefit your family? Of course, they're going to say, yeah, they just gave me their social, their banking, everything else, right? So after that, I'm going to say, okay, do you want to know how much money I just got paid? Most people will say, yeah. I'll say, okay, your policy was $50, which means for the year, you're going to pay $600. I'm on a 70% contract, which means I'm going to get paid 70% of that. How long does it take you to make that on your job? That's when most people's jaw drop, right? And they say, well, I think I'll give it a shot. So as they're giving this a shot, they're not realizing that they're also putting themselves in a position to get a bonus because I just recruited them. So when I recruit them, the person that's sitting next to me on the training appointment should be excited because this is a person that's now going on your team. I just recruited this person for you. I have to build you a team because in order to get to that 50% contract I spoke of, you need $5,000 in unlicensed premium and you need 5 people on your team. So remember, this is premium. So if my goal is to get to 5,000 in premium and I got 600 on this one particular close right here, that means I have how much more to go? 4,400, right? So that might take me helping 3 families, that might take me helping 4 families. It might be 10 families, but at the end of the day, this is your marker. Because as you schedule these 20 appointments, it's gonna put you in a position to be able to accomplish this. Now, these 5 recruits, which are part of that 50% requirement, you can either A, say, I'm going to recruit 5 people, or I'm gonna recruit 3 people who might recruit another person, and that's my 5, right? I'm the type of person, I'm going to go find 5 people because I want to choose who I work with. That's the difference between this and having a job. You can't choose who you work with at a job, right? But here you can. So why would you not want to choose your 5 people? Not to mention that as you do this, it puts you in a position to now have the second part of your bonus, which is helping 2 more families, recruiting 2 more people to your team, and getting a 60% or better on your licensing exam. Primerica is going to give you another $200 for a total of $400 this month. So, like I said, if all you have to do is find total of 3 families, total of 3 people for your business team, out of 300 to 400 contacts in your phone, do you think that that would be difficult? No. Probably not, right? You guys don't sound too confident. Do you really think it would be hard? No? Okay. How many of you guys...
I have a question.
Yes.
Who makes money off that 20, off the meetings that you go to?
Your trainer, because they have the license.
Okay.
When you go to school, did you go to college?
Yes.
Or high school? You went to college?
Mm-hmm.
Where'd you go?
I went to the Musicians Institute.
That's amazing. When you went to school and you showed up for your classes, who got paid? You were the teacher. There you go. So, all right, I'll chat with you.
I got paid.
And eventually you'll get paid.
Exactly, and you'll get paid well. So I'll wrap up with you guys in a little bit, but I want you guys to really keep an open ear right now because the woman that I'm going to bring before you, this is my senior vice president and yours too now. This woman makes over $650,000 a year. She is the highest paid single African American in this company, and I guarantee you anything that you're going through or have been through, she has already been through it and gotten through it. So I want you guys to just do me a favor, stand to your feet, and welcome Tonia Poes.
Hello. We're going to do that again. Hello. Hello. Okay. Well, welcome, and I want to thank you guys for taking the time to be here. You could have been any place else. It is Saturday morning. You had to drag yourself out to get here. So we appreciate it, okay? I want to give you, you learning all the fundamentals of what to do, how to get paid, all that good stuff, which is everything you need to know, right? But I want to give you a little information about who I am. Most of you saw me on the stage, and you get a little bit, and I'm giving you the show, okay? Wednesday's the show to make you understand what's going on, how we operate in here, and just get you excited enough to say, you know what, I want to make a change. I want to be a part of that. But let me explain to you really briefly my story and how I arrived here. And you see, she makes this much, she's from here. What exactly happened? How did this work exactly? So I'm going to tell you. I used to be a school teacher. I taught high school for 10 years in the inner city of Los Angeles. I'm born and raised in Compton. I have a bachelor's degree. I have a master's degree. And I just kind of wanted more. When I started teaching school, I had some valuable lessons that I learned about life. I was 23 years old, and I had 2 mentor teachers. And those 2 mentor teachers were both, this was their last year teaching, ironically, but it was my first year. So after that year, I wasn't going to see them anymore. So towards the end of the school year, around my birthday's in May, and we were in the break room. And I saw one of them filling out paperwork to return back as a sub because they were both retiring. One was filling out paperwork to return back as a sub in September. The other one was filling out her paperwork to cash in on her investments, cash in on her real estate property she had in Arizona. That's what her and her husband was going to move to retire. So her life was obviously going to be a little bit better than the other. So I asked her, I said, what did you do that she didn't do? Because I don't want to be like you. At the time, I didn't know where I was going to be. I'm just new at a job. I'm looking at how can I move up. And, she's way older than me. At the end, she's at the end of my room. I'm looking at a picture of myself. So I don't want this picture over here. I want this one over here. So I asked her, what did you do that she didn't do? And what she told me was someone told her that if you think your job is going to have you living better in retirement than it did when you was working, then you're crazy. And so at that moment, she said, well, what do I do? And that person told her, invest in something else. Have something else other than your job. Have something else going on. Learn what to do with your money. And I said, well, how do I do that? What did you do? She told me real estate. Now, I'm 23 years old. I'm giving you this story because I need you to understand how the mindset works. Regardless of Primerica or not, when you see someone that has what you want and they're willing to tell you exactly what to do to get it, it is math, okay? 1 + 1 = what? I don't care what language it's in. 1 + 1 gonna always equal 2. So if you see someone that has the lifestyle and has what you want, and they're willing to tell you exactly what to do to get it, why wouldn't you do it? Because you will have it. And so this is the example. Has nothing to do with Primerica. I'm 23 years old. She tells me what to do to start buying real estate property. I'm like, how can I do that? I'm 23. She said, first thing you gotta do is fix your credit. And I said, okay, how do I do that? First, get your credit report. Start fixing it, putting money towards that instead of putting money towards going out, hanging out, all these things you don't need. Work on yourself, and then you can have something that you want. And so I did that. She said, you get a tax return every year, right? Save it. You'll get a down payment in a few years. See, she told me. The problem is you want to have what I have right now. It's going to take you a little time. Now, this is what I learned. This was 23. I didn't join Primerica until 34. This is 23 years old, okay? And I did everything this woman told me to do because, again, I wanted what she had. At 26 years old, I bought my first apartment building in Torrance, a 4-unit building. By the time I was 34 and was looking at Primerica, I had 4 apartment buildings and my own house in West Covina, okay, off of what she told me. Now, let me tell you what the problem is. She left the next year, so I didn't continue to get coaching. I didn't continue to get help. I didn't have her to ask me what to do, how does this work, I'm going through this thing blind. I bought the first one, then I buy a second one, I listen to this person, listen to that person. The people I'm listening to now are just workers. They don't have what she had. I'm taking everybody's advice because I don't have nobody to guide me. And so what I end up happening is I lost all of them. Refinancing, treating them like ATM machines, pulling money from here, pulling money from there because I didn't have the coaching. I didn't have the guidance. I didn't have what I needed to be successful in that area. Had she stayed there with me and coached me through it and talked me through it, I would have ended up with the way she was. So I lost everything, and I'm talking everything, okay? It got to the point to where every summer, as a school teacher, you put in a bid, do you want to work summer school? I said, don't even think about asking me. That's my time off. All summer, I'm gone. I'm on vacations, shopping like crazy. I would forget that I had paychecks from being a school teacher. That's how good I was doing with real estate. But I didn't let it go. I didn't cut that tie because I didn't have that coach pumping into me how you can be great, you can do that. I could have been one of those real estate gurus on TV. I could have really done well, but I didn't have that person giving that to me, that coaching. I'm telling you this because at Primerica you have it. So I looked at Primerica because I was on my back, y'all. I didn't have nothing else. I didn't think I was gonna grow up selling life insurance and mutual funds for a living. That wasn't what I thought I wanted to do, but what I did want to do was be successful. By any cost, what I have to do, ethically and morally correct, I'm willing to try it, look at it. I want to be successful. I want a different lifestyle, okay? And so when Primerica approached me in the Target parking lot, it was a day when I was down on my luck. I'm gonna tell you about that day. It was amazing how this happened. That particular day was the day I was in a 15-year relationship with my daughter's father. That day, it hit the fan. We realized she's 2 years old and we're gonna have to just be parents. It is over, okay? It didn't happen that day, it just showed up that day, okay? And also that day, I took a walk down I was in this nice neighborhood where you have to go get your mail at one central place. I go get my mail and I see a letter from the IRS saying I owe them $26,000 in back taxes. I go back home, I get on the computer, I start trying to figure stuff out. I used to always check my credit, and because I was so, used to checking my credit, and I knew it was horrible. So I really sat down that day and added up exactly what do I owe. I was $2.2 million in debt. And so I'm sitting there and I'm crying like, what is happening to me right now? And I had just gotten the day before a notice that they were foreclosing on the house. And so I had short sold 2 properties already. I was losing the other 2 and I was about to lose the house. And it was bad. Money was gone and it was bad. So I picked myself up. I stopped crying. Later on that evening, I went to Target. Ladies, we like to have retail therapy. I didn't have no more money. They might as well take the rest of it. You know what I'm saying? So I had to go feel a little bit better about myself. So I go to Target. Now, this is the thing. I had no reason to go to Target other than to get out the house because I've been home all day crying, feel better being around the shopping environment, put my daughter in the basket, and I literally just aimlessly walked around Target. I found a few things. You can always find something to buy in Target, you know that. I found a few things to buy, but I had no real reason to be there, although so I thought. So I thought. And as I left there, what I didn't know was there was a man in Primerica that had been coming to a meeting just like the one you're about to go into. There was a district leader that had experienced some success, that had done well, but he wasn't consistent in his actions, so his business wasn't doing what he wanted it to do at the time. He was down on himself, and he was used to prospecting and talking to people. Now, you don't have to prospect, because I built my business on referrals. There's many ways to do it, but he loved to talk to new people. So he used to do that on a regular basis. As soon as he stopped doing it, his business started looking different. So he told himself, his wife told him actually, we're going to start again like we used to do, but we're going to start today. No time like the present. We're not going to say like a diet, let's start on Monday. No. We're going to start today. And she made him go to that Target, and she said, don't come out of here without a number. And I was the number that he got. He approached me and said, do you keep your options open when it comes to making and saving money? And I told him, I said, well, yeah, I do. He said, well, I have a business in the area. My wife and I are always looking for sharp people. And I would like to get your number so she and I can give you a call. We can have an opportunity to sit down with you and just show you exactly what it is that we do. If it's for you, fine. If it's not, maybe you know someone that it is for. Now, on a regular day, because I was where I was and the status that I had and the cars that I'm driving, you name it, I had Escalades, 745s, like jet skis, dirt bikes, motorcycles. I mean, I love toys, and we were spending the money, not learning how to save the money. And on any given day, because of my lifestyle, I would have gave him a very, very nice no thank you. But because I was on my back, because I had nowhere to go but up. Who am I to say no to something when I know I need something else? Let me at least take a shot. I'm not supposed to know nothing about it. I never did this before. This is not supposed to be familiar to me. I've never made the kind of money that you could have the potential to earn here. So why would I know about how to do this? Does that make sense? People, it's amazing to me how they're like, well, I don't know anything about that, so I don't want to do it. Well, how else are you going to make some money other than what you already making? Learn how to do something else so you can make more money and have a different lifestyle. So I came to the business, and he sat down with me, educated me on all these financial concepts I had no clue about. And it was amazing to me because I have a master's degree in education. He has a high school diploma. Yet this is the man that took me on 19 training appointments. He closed 18 of the 19, and I didn't even have a bonus back then in 2008. I didn't get nothing but the same thing I got when I went to get my bachelor's degree and my master's degree. I got an opportunity to get done with this and go out there and make some money. At least today they give you a bonus. They didn't give nothing back then. And then also back then you had to be in a business for a whole year to even get your other tests paid for. Your Series 6, 63, 20, all these other tests that you can take for your investment, you have to be in a year to get that paid for. You get open for business and you can go study right now today to get those paid for as well. So a lot has changed in the last 8.5 years to make it easier and more comfortable for you. Does that make sense? But even back then, I was so on my back. If they would have told me I had to pay $99 a month, I would have paid it. Once I started coming to meetings and really understanding the income earning potential of what could be done, what could be earned here, if I just learned and homed in and stopped worrying about all the extra stuff and worrying about exactly what they tell me to do. I can honestly tell you I was coachable from the beginning because I had no choice. If either I'm going to be coachable to these people or coachable to these streets and the fools that are broke, or coachable to the person trying to steal my dream that called me and say, don't do that, or coachable to your mom that don't understand, your dad that doesn't understand, your spouse that don't understand. You'll be coachable to somebody, but figure out who you're going to be coachable to and what the opportunity is for you being coachable to that person, where you're going to end up. Does that make sense? So my biggest advice to you, because I came and I listened, I couldn't get nobody to come to a meeting. That's my tagline. I was a senior rep in the back of the room that couldn't get nobody to come to a meeting, but I kept coming because I kept saying, I kept hearing, Tonia, when you get better, it will get better. Whatever the it is, when you get better at Primerica, when you get a better passion for it, you got to keep coming to learn. And when you get better, you'll invite people different. You'll talk to them different. They'll see a passion in you. They'll see a change in you, and they'll want to come. I had to convince people to drive from here all the way to Pasadena at 7 o'clock at night. Do you understand me? I don't care where you're coming from. It's a headache to get over there, okay? And what time you have to leave to get the journey over there because of traffic. I had to leave Compton at 4 o'clock to get to Pasadena. And I'm not talking about where the 110 freeway ends on Colorado. I'm talking about off the 210 freeway, 2 exits from Monrovia. Do you understand me? Yeah, I see your face. I had to hit the 110, and when that ends, go through the streets and hop on the 210 in the back, jump on the 210, and then be on 210 for about 10 minutes. Just to get to where I have to get my guests to come. Yet and still, I used to be a senior rep in the back of the room that couldn't get nobody to come, and all of a sudden, I override the room. When you believe in yourself enough, it doesn't matter. Mountains will start to be moved because you cannot be denied. Do you understand that? I had some changing to do. The person you see right here today, my confidence came out a little more back then. Now I learned how to suppress it, bring it out when I need to. So you have to do some changing. You understand what I'm saying? But it was worth it. You got to change for something. Let it be for something that's going to reward you and your family very well. So my biggest advice to you is when you leave here today, because you are going to go, when she's going to come in here and wrap up, you're going to go into the other room. You're going to be introduced. You don't have to say anything. The person that's training you is going to introduce you, and you just wave, say hi. But when you come out of the room, you're going to feel empowered if you haven't already. You're going to feel so much better about yourself because it self-improves in here. It don't self-improve out there. So understand that. So when you get home and you're excited and you're telling somebody, you're telling your friend, so you got to make a list, and you're going to call your girlfriend, you're going to call your best friend, all these people you're going to call. You might call 10, but only one might respond right. Don't be upset. Understand, it self-improves in here. It don't self-improve out there. So if they don't understand, don't let it discourage you. You got to keep coming and keep doing it anyway. Does that make sense? Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I don't know what kind of introduction she gave herself, but she probably didn't. So I'm going to just tell you about her. She is my top regional leader in my business and one of the top in the company. She's making about $70,000 already without having the 110 contract we talked about, which is phenomenal. She'll be going RVP in the first quarter of this year, so this is going to be her year. We're just very excited for her and Viv. So she wasn't gonna tell you about herself, but I had to give you a little bit. She's you can tell she know what she's doing a little bit. A little bit. Yeah. Okay, good. All right. So without further ado, I'll bring her back in. Welcome, Steph.
Thank you, guys. All right. Thanks, TP.
I'll see y'all in there.
All right. All right, you guys, so I'm just gonna wrap up with showing you guys exactly how your training is going to go. So that way it will answer any questions that you have. And the last 2 points that I'll touch on is equity and residual income. So, think about this. You can also get investment licenses, right? So you have the opportunity to get your Series 6, 63, 26, and 65 licenses. Your 6 and 63 you most certainly need. The reason being is because how many of you guys are already clients? Raise your hand if you are. If you're not, you need to get with the person that recruited you. So let's say, for instance, you are a client. You have a 35-year life insurance policy, which means in the 36th year, your policy is going to expire. If you were still alive and you had no life insurance coverage, but you had been paying for the past 35 years, how would you feel? Upset, right? But what if when that policy expired, you had twice as much money sitting somewhere in an investment account? Would you still be mad that you didn't have life insurance? No. So if your policy is $100,000, but you have, say, $250,000 in cash money sitting in the investment account waiting for you when that policy expires, then you feel like you've done your job, because even if you were to pass, your family still has some money, right? That's why you need these licenses, because when you walk into someone's house and you give them life insurance with no investments, you are hurting them more than a cash value agent. At least with a cash value agent, they have some money built up in a policy where if they needed it, they could pull it and use it, right? But if we don't put their investments in place, which are their 3 fundamental accounts, their emergency fund, their short-term account, their retirement accounts, that means that when that family's policy expires, they're not going to have any money to fall back on. And although they might not be able to find you to say, hey, you did my family wrong, that's probably what they'll be thinking. So your 6 and 63 are the 2 major investment licenses that you need to be able to open your clients' mutual funds. Your Series 26 makes you a supervisor of investments. So the same way that you can override life insurance sales is the exact same way that you can override investment income for the people on your team who have investment licenses, and that's why you need a Series 26. Your Series 65 license means that now you can handle managed accounts, which are bigger lump sums of money. You might work with professional athletes, whatever it might be. You can charge people for your time, as opposed to just doing a service for them. Primerica pays for every single one of those licenses out of the $124 that you pay. This $124 covers a whole lot of things, including your POL fee, which is your Primerica Online, that's your secretary, keeps track of your business for you. So wouldn't you want to know what clients made payments and which ones didn't, so you can make sure you keep all your money and keep your clients up to date, right? Also want to know if you made the company trips, if you're getting a bonus, how much you're getting paid, when you're getting paid. This entire system tracks it for you. One of the reasons people don't like running a business is because they have payroll and inventory. We don't have either one. POL does it for us. The other $99 that is out of this $124, your background check, your life license, the 32-hour course that goes with it, the actual exam fee. Primerica also covers the fingerprints. Not to mention, by getting your 124 in, it makes you eligible for that $400 bonus this month. And it also puts you in a position to be able to get paid off of all non-life products while you're in training. So you asked the question earlier in regards to, okay, well, who makes the money off of those 20 training appointments? Your trainer does. But on all of these things, you get paid in training. So your trainer gets paid off of 2 things, which is life insurance and investments. Any other thing that you service a family with while you're in training that you went to go sit down with, you get paid for these things. So auto and home, you get paid based on the idea of helping someone save money on their auto and home insurance. Because if I can help you save 40 or 50 bucks a month, that's now 40 or $50. I can show you how to put into an investment account, right? So now that investment account is going to grow for your family. So I saved you money and helped you grow money, all by helping you save money on your auto insurance. Your legal shield. How many of you guys have ever had to go to court for anything? Ever had to read a contract and sign it for anything? And maybe you didn't understand it or even read all the way through it, but they said sign at the end, so you signed at the end, right? Legal shield helps you make sure that you understand what it is that you're doing. If you need somebody to go to traffic court, divorce court, you're suing somebody, buying a house, whatever, they can help you with that. Long-term care. How many of you guys have people in your family who are a little bit older and eventually somebody may have to take care of them? It's kind of hard when you're trying to figure out who's going to take care of that person or who has the money to do it, right? What if you could pay into a plan to make sure that you never had to worry about that? To make sure that they have somewhere to live, they have activities to do every day, they have food, they have a good quality of life. That's what long-term care is. You get paid on that based on, of course, how the contract is structured. The same with life insurance. Debt resolution. So we help them make sure that they can track their credit. We help them make sure that if they have anything on their credit they need to get off, we help them resolve their debt issues. We also have a program called Debt Watchers, which allows you to pretty much do a debt stacking program. It helps you get out of debt sooner by paying less in interest payments. So all of those things you can get paid on, non-life products, just by turning in this 124. So if you think about it, on auto and home, you would get paid almost $50 a person, $55 a person. So if you pay $124 to start Primerica, you help 2 people with auto and home, you just got your $100 back. The 25 is for POL, but you pretty much broke even, right? Help 3 families and you put your money back in your pocket. So what you got to think about is, although we pay $124, it covers a whole lot of stuff, not to mention you can still get paid in training. But I said this to make note that you have to get these licenses because that's what allows you to have residual income. If I have 300 clients and I set up their investment accounts, how many times do I have to set up the actual account? How many times are they going to fund it? Every month, every 2 weeks, once a year, income tax time. So every time they fund that account, who gets paid? But I set it up how many times? Once. So if I have 300 clients, they each have the 3 fundamental accounts. That's 900 accounts that's getting funded every single month. For every $100 someone puts in as a regional leader, I get $2.15 roundabout. So do you think that I'm excited that I have 900 accounts that might be getting funded $100 every single month, and now I have a steady income? The hardest work that I do for investments is making sure that I explain to my clients what's going on with their money, see how they feel about it, if they need to make changes, but it's not me doing any hard labor. It's me just making sure that their family is okay. So when you have an investment license, you have the opportunity to build residual income. There was a young lady that I met not too long ago through a friend who was previously in the business. She was 21 years old, was hit by a car, broke her spine, had to have surgery, was paid out $400,000, and in the first 60 days, she blew $25,000. By the time I got to her, she had $375,000. But do you know now that girl will never work a day in her life because we were able to put $100,000 in an annuity for her that will pay her a check every single month, just like she worked a job. She has a mutual fund portfolio to save to buy a house, to send her newborn daughter to college, and then also just a regular portfolio for emergencies that she has $20,000 in. And the rest of the money, we put it in one mutual fund portfolio, and she gets almost $300 in interest every single month. So do you think that she's going to be wealthy by the time she turns 40, 45? She'll never have to worry about it. So not everybody starts off with a lot of money, but we can help our clients with investments as little as $25 to $50 a month. So this residual income is big. We talked about all the money, right? But the big question is, well, Steph, who do I even talk to be able to close an appointment, to be able to even make the money, right? Like who do I chat with? This is what's going to happen. My last 5 minutes. Can y'all stay with me for 5 minutes? Yeah. Okay. So we're going to make a list. This list, I'm sure you've heard of the infamous list. They're going to ask you for all your friends and family. They're going to go see them. You're not going to get paid. They're going to make all this money off of you, and then they're just going to hang you out to dry, right? That's what most people who tried Primerica but didn't really do Primerica says about it. But this list is your gold mine, because think about it. If you have 20 plus people on this list, right, that we're trying to set appointments with. The first person, when we walk in, we close them. We write their life insurance, do their investments, but they're like, I don't want to do that Primerica thing. I don't want to talk to a million people all the time and strangers. So what we ask them for are referrals instead. I'll say, okay, Mr. and Mrs. Client, that's fine. You don't have to do Primerica. I'm glad you decided to become a client. We can still help you become financially free. But are you excited about what we did for your family? They say yes. I say great. Here's a referral sheet. I'm currently training Sharice, and because she allowed me to come see you so that she could learn, I need to make sure that she gets compensated for this. So can you give me about 10 to 15 names of people that she can see once she gets licensed? They put the names and numbers on the paper. Now Sharice has 15 referrals that she can now call after she get licensed, even though she only gave up one, and she got training premium from this sale. Does anybody remember how much premium we needed to take our 50% contract?
Oh, you said 5, right?
Yep, $5,000 in premium. So if this sale will say $50, that means the client paid $600 for the year, which means that now we have $4,400 to go, right? So the next house we walk into might be a cousin. We don't close them because their finances aren't all that great, but they do need an opportunity to make some money, so we recruit them. Because I recruited that person, I'm not going to ask them for referrals because don't they need people to go see for training? So their referrals belong to them. So I go through this whole list like this, right? And by the time I get done, I might have clients where nothing happened when I walk in the house and where everything happened when I walked in the house, right? But the main point is that by the time you get done, you've accomplished a couple different things. One being that we have to get you licensed through this process. 2, I have to build you a team. And that team needs to be 5 people or better because I need you to have someone to override. I need to make sure that you have 50 to 100 referrals by the time I get done training you, because if I don't, that means I used you. And as a trainer, I don't want anybody to ever think that I used them, right? I need to make sure that you have your bonus. Normally it's $300, but in this case, it's $400 this month. And I need to make sure that you're confident. The only way you get confident is if we go on enough training appointments to where you know that you can effectively help someone. And lastly, I need to make sure that you are competent. Because if you have a license through the Department of Insurance that says that you know enough to be able to offer someone life insurance, I don't ever want you to be in a position where you feel like, man, yes, I'm giving this person this policy, but if they ask me a question, I wouldn't know how to properly answer it. So these things, as long as you do what you have to do in training, I promise you, you will have everything that you're supposed to have. And here's the icing on the cake. How many of you guys would like a free iPad? Nobody? I'll keep them. Free iPad, right? So that's the last part of your unlicensed bonus. So by doing this, you get points. And all these points that you get add up to get you this iPad. How many of you guys, did anybody graduate at the top of their class in high school, college, elementary, grade school, preschool? Anywhere? Okay. So when it comes to your iPad, all of this stuff that I just told you need to do, you get points for everything. Every time we add someone onto your team, that's 1,000 points that you get. Every time we get that person with a license, that's 15,000 points that you get. Every single sale that we close, if that client pays $600 for the year, that means that you got 600 points. So this competition is called Engage for 90. Engage for 90 is major. A lot of people in our office win it, and it's because if you go through training properly, you automatically win. So, first 90 days that you are in the business after your IBA clears, you have 90 days to show what you're made of. For everything that you do, you get points. So, you get points for recruiting, you get points for getting licensed, you get points for premium, you get points for training observations. You get paid, you get points for pretty much everything. Your main focus is to be top 5 amongst the people that joined in your week in the first 90 days that you are in the business. So let's assume all you guys turned in your IBA this week. Across the country, you have 1,000 people that turned in an IBA this week. Well, based on whoever are the top 5 for gathering those points at the end of 90 days, they're going to look at, all right, everybody that started the second week in January, who were the top 5? Those 5 people get a free iPad. Now, I can guarantee you, if you go through training, you do your 20 training appointments, even if you only closed half of them, even if you only closed 25% of them, but you recruited your 5 people and got at least 3 of them licensed, I guarantee you would win for the Engage for 90. You want to know why? Because a lot of people start Primerica and they don't finish it. And I'll wrap up by telling you guys this. I pray that next week all of you guys come back. I hope that all of you guys come back. But the reality is that probably half of you guys will not come back, either because you heard something you didn't like, you're not really sure if you can do it, you're not really sure if this is for you. But the one thing that I would tell you is that if you make a 30-day commitment, just 30 days, not for the whole year, not for 6 months, 30 days, If you be honest with yourself for 30 days about this process, I promise you, you'll find out a whole lot. And even if you don't decide to stay, you will at least have a license at the end that you can use anywhere you go, and you will have learned a whole lot about yourself and what you're made of. So anybody now have an income goal of how much they want Primerica to pay them in a month? Ah, now we answer. All right, good stuff, you guys. Well, we're going to go in the orientation room. You guys are going to be introduced. When you get introduced, just give them your Vanna White wave. Your trainer will say something amazing about you. But before we go down the hallway, feel free to use the restroom. Just don't sneak out the front door on me. And we'll go about 2-3 minutes, and then we'll get into the out night room.